Okay. So thank you. It's an honor to be able to add a couple of personal thoughts to this session. And so many of us are here to celebrate the ISPD Lifetime Achievement Award for Jens, a colleague and co-author and friend. Credit to Gemini. Many of the PD faces of Jens are well covered in the previous and especially in the next talk, and this afternoon's sessions as well, and Patrick asked me to keep this on the very short side. So I am a co-author and a fan of Jens. Today I'll just touch on these three faces, and you can read a bit more in the paper. So the timeline naturally provides these faces. Jens's postdoc and visiting faculty positions at Concordia and UVA gave rise to the seminal works on evolutionary optimization and metaheuristics, notably for VLSI routing. Then the industrial roles, delivering CAD tools at Tanner, using CAD tools to deliver IC products at Bosch, shaped how Jens has brought physics and what I think of as the physical to physical design. And as we heard, he built an institute and has left a one-of-a-kind stamp of mentoring, codification, and pedagogy that reaches around the world. So, optimization as search, physics, and codification are words to keep in mind. I start with evolutionary and metaheuristic optimization. And many of us know that Jens wrote a remarkable series of papers from 1992 to 1997 at Concordia and Virginia, pioneering the use of GAs and evolutionary metaheuristics for VLSI routing. Reading these papers brings back memories of the mentors, Professor Tula Siraman and Professors Kahng and Martin. And these papers made important overtures to the parallel problem solving from nature, PPSN, and metaheuristics communities that still haven't been as fruitful as they should have been or should be going forward. To set the stage, in the early to mid 1990s, routing was getting harder along multiple axes simultaneously: wire length, crosstalk, via count, sequential implementation constraints, all compounding, and multi-chip modules had a problem structure that was inherently different and more difficult than the single die counterparts. The solution methods we had were mostly sequential and greedy, left edge, dogleg, Yoshimura and Ku style approaches, and reduction of everything to channels and switch boxes. So what Jens recognized is that routing is fundamentally a discrete, combinatorial, rugged landscape search problem, not something you should attack with a single trajectory through a solution space. And he was the first to seriously explore evolutionary algorithms for detailed routing, culminating in the first parallel genetic algorithm for this domain in 1997. And as Jens noted here in blue font, the world wasn't ready at the time. But today, GAs are absolutely alive and well in physical design, and one might say they are mandatory going forward. And actually, Igor Markov did say that yesterday. And Jens's earliest GA papers, Eurodac 1992, Evolutionary Computing Journal in 1994, targeted MCM routing. Encoding represented routing solutions as chromosomes, and Jens applied tournament selection, order-based crossover, mutation operators tailored to those channel and switch box geometries. Before this form of search, the dominant paradigm was single solution methods. Start from one configuration and improve it, usually greedily, or build a solution left to right with a constructive heuristic. But by contrast, evolutionary search maintains a population and recombines solutions, sampling from multiple regions, of the solution space in parallel. And the results were already competitive with the best known methods. And Jens's trajectory went on to add parallelism and crosstalk and timing objectives. And there was some serendipity. At the University of Virginia, Jens had access to the campus-wide distributed computing network. These networked workstations, essentially a very early cluster. So he didn't use this available parallelism to speed up a single GA. He ran multiple independent populations in parallel across different machines. And this enabled a realization of evolution with punctuated equilibria, so to speak. The figure shown top to bottom shows the alternation between isolated evolution and brief migration events. So during isolation, each subpopulation converges towards its own local optimum, but migration injects genetic material from other subpopulations, creating these sudden bursts of improvement. Punctuated equilibria is the term from evolutionary biology. And the result is less stagnation, better coverage, stronger final solutions. And this was use of parallelism beyond just speed up. It changed the quality of the search. And Jens formalized this into the island model. Partition your population into subpopulations that evolve independently with controlled migration between them. And the pipeline on the right, again top down, shows partitioning, then selection, crossover, mutation on each island, then the periodic migration at the bottom. And the systematic exploration that he did of what we now call hyperparameters is noteworthy. You know, how many islands? He experimented with 4 to 16. How often to migrate? How many migrants? And do you send your best, your top 50%, your random? Each choice trades off exploration versus exploitation. So too much migration and your islands will converge prematurely. Too little and you're essentially running independent little searches that never benefit from each other. So in the bottom picture, isolation gives localized optimization or exploitation, while migration triggers bursts of exploration. And I feel that in our field, Jens was one of the first, if not the first, to study this diversity as a controllable algorithmic resource. Stepping back, we see now what are time-tested insights. First of all, don't simplify away the hard parts. I really like this. Don't fall into the trap of relaxation for convenience. Don't fall into that assume a spherical horse trap. Optimizers really need to address the real objectives and constraints, the crosstalk, v-account, timing, reliability, and meta-heuristics, including annealing, so there's Bill in the front row, give us this, and we often forget this. And in rugged combinatorial landscapes, population-based search that maintains diversity is a principled response to the challenge. So Jens's island models, parallel search, structured diversity, are very much the forebears of today's parallel portfolio solvers, LLM-guided search, evolution of heuristics, and more. He saw PD as large-scale search and optimization long before that perspective was common. So what a difference 30 years makes. In the 1990s, the verdict on evolutionary methods in EDA from Jens himself was interesting but not practical. Stochasticity was lemons and no one really saw how to make the lemonade. And overnight was still the largest time constant in the heads of users. Today it's like weeks or months. Tuning GA parameters was a highly manual, artisanal thing. But if you fast forward to the 2020s with multi-core CPUs, GPUs, cloud-scale compute, Bayesian optimization for auto-tuning, parallel portfolio methods, and now we have agentic AI-based orchestrations of search. So Jens's ideas were considerably ahead of their time, and the ecosystem simply needed a quarter century to catch up. These pictures were actually made a quarter century apart. The point is, stochastic optimization still looks the same. You still pay geometrically for that next increment of improvement. Jens's picture appeared in the 1997 Handbook of Evolutionary Computing. And actually, it's the one on the left. So from a timeline standpoint, the industrial years reinforced bringing physics and the physical to physical design. So don't lose sight of the real world acceptance or delivery criterion, and no spherical horses, please. So again, the years in industry provided the discipline of business in both small and very large organizations, and it reinforced that physical grounding that we see in so much of Jens's research. So a former Tanner colleague, Judy Berg-Stresser, recalled so much about Jens 30 years later, and many thanks to Suzanne for helping me obtain thoughts from Judy, along with this L-edit image that Judy sent. Her description of Jens's attention to precision and accuracy of explication, his intensive review, his reliable adherence to deadlines were apparent even back then, and this does ring a bell. And Jens himself also provides quite vivid recollections, including the Martian rovers that roamed on the red planet have those Tanner tool designed chips in them. And wow, you never forget that sentence. And from his years at Robert Bosch, Jens was driven to a very deep study of reliability mechanisms, and he developed methods for prediction of local problems and critical wire-based filtering to enable tool scalability to real contexts well into this century. So he was actually also doing AI and ML more than two decades ago. I first realized Jens's amazing gifts as a communicator and teacher when I saw his talk on electromigration at ISPD 2006. And like many others, I still use his slides on this topic today. So electromigration, along with this afternoon's sessions and the previous talk, exemplifies how Jens has shaped the trajectory of ISPD and our community. Here is a clear three-stage progression. First, make the field aware of the issue. And second, explain why the issue belongs on the agenda going forward. And third, codify it as a stable body of knowledge. So the 2006 invited paper, the 2018 pressing need paper, and the 2025 second edition EM book trace exactly this progression. And what is quite special is to see one person executing all stages of this life cycle, as I think Leon Stock would call it. And this brings me to codification, which Jens has achieved through tools and pedagogy, and through his books, which actually scale out to every human being who's within reach of Springer Verlag, I guess. And Jens's 8 books are indeed books for all design levels, as his website says. They span the entire design stack: electronic systems design, layout design of ICs, MCMs, and PCBs, down to VLSI physical design algorithms. And these textbooks are really optimized for instruction and learning: exercises, worked examples, pedagogical structure, the consistent notation, the conceptual framing, the superb illustrations. And Jens is obviously unique in our field for creating this whole pedagogical framework at such a scale. Of course, the PD book is a personal highlight. You know, at the end of my career, it'll be a personal highlight. It included topics such as timing closure and analytic placement that had been absent from previous books. And when preparing this talk, I realized that the PD book had brought us together for 14 years. And as I say in the paper, Jens really made it happen. Aside from enormous thought and effort, everything was optimized by Jens, including placement of the book in key university libraries, creating these excellent free lecture materials, and even making sure that this figure could freely propagate via a permissive Creative Commons license. Before ending, I'd like to thank the many folks who helped me a lot, including Bodhi and Yiting at UCSD, and Suzanne, Johan, and Jens himself. And so Jens, thank you for making our field truer to physics and systems and people, for the science, the books, the institutional leadership and collaborations, and for the example. I'm grateful for being able to say that you are a colleague and co-author and friend, and congratulations.